Hey, it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful, empowered harmonizers. Woohoo! We are zooming in and focusing in a little bit more in depth on a great viewer question, and that is to discuss a little bit more of the covert narcissist lack of empathy and what this really means. It's also, a covert narcissist is someone it's sort of stealth-like. It's very difficult to detect how you're, a cause of their a cause of suffering in your life due to a covert narcissist, how others are impacted, and the covert narcissist is not. So we're talking about two separate camps. We're talking about two separate positions or viewpoints. We're talking about, two different people's reality, in the way that they are, see themselves and what they will then attend to, what they will then discuss with you, what they will admit, acknowledge, or validate. But, when we're talking about a pathology, such as a covert narcissist or a psychopath for that matter, it's two different types of situations, but the situation can be very similar, I would say, in an outcome, based on severity that others then experience. So it's no laughing matter. It's actually very serious to understand what lack of empathy is, how it is manifested, and how it reveals in your life as an influence. Because oftentimes these people can be very influential towards others and sort of shape them, if you will, like from a ball of putty, shaping and molding and carving them to become supportive of the narcissist while you're not getting support in return. If lack of empathy, someone is not listening to you, they're not getting your viewpoint, they're not going to satisfy your needs, they think that they're wrong, and so that it's unimportant, or it'll take away really from them, I think, is the main thing. So if you are to try to level up, if you call them out, they don't like to be challenged, and with a lack of empathy, really, if they don't feel then that they have done anything wrong to be selfish as they are. To them, that's just how they should operate their life. So it's not up for question when you're trying to discuss this with them. So it'll become, if you go into a heated battle, or you blow a gasket, oftentimes you really end up just injuring yourself, hurting yourself, and really sort of wallowing in the lower energetic vibration of emotions, which is anger, hatred, resentment, guilt, apathy, a lack of self-trust. It can then become self-sabotage, where then people, will then develop even mental capacities or mental erroneous thoughts, which causes them to do all sorts of unsupportive behavior, meaning not supportive to them and then their own health and well-being. It becomes their life becomes very disorganized, lacking passion, lacking joy, lacking energy. This then creates, a real sort of hopelessness or a learned helplessness in others once they are around people with a lack of empathy. That is the mistake that the covert narcissist makes, is due to a lack of empathy, they treat others as if they are replaceable, that that they can damage them, and then that's their problem. In other words, inflict hurt or problem, and then it creates a proliferation of suffering in others, so they can go on their happy narcissistic way. So that is a mistake, and then causes then this re-injuring. It is a cycle of abuse, emotional abuse, which is very difficult to sort of lay out on the table. You have, lack of empathy. I mean, to say something like this, it just creates just a wheel that just gets deeper and deeper into a rut. So you must understand that the awareness must arise from within you, because the awareness is not within them. It's an energetic field. Really, all of life is energy. So if you found yourself sort of not happy, not living the dream, it's because you're indulging in these lower energy vibrations. You're allowing that to dictate your reality, your life, what you do, where you go, who you become, and what emotions you experience. So people are oftentimes, they get sick and tired of being ignored, mistreated, etc. And so that is the mistake that the narcissist makes. They won't come to your aid when needed. They won't admit or fess up to their hurtful behaviors because they aren't checking in with you. They just are not able. You just have to accept and understand that this is a limitation in another's life, in another's behavioral repertoire, in their emotional repertoire, in their social repertoire. It is what it is. So, you have to understand that this becomes then an influence in your life, which you have to turn the spigot off on. Turn off the fire hose of negative emotions that's just sort of beating you down and constantly hitting you in the solar plexus. That is your I am. When people have a lot of anxiety, they might feel it in their chest, their heart. Pay attention. They might grind their teeth, so they don't say the wrong thing. All this is connected. They might clench up their shoulders because, they're trying to maybe, brace themselves or make themselves bigger. It's just, these are automatic processes, defense mechanisms. And you don't want to live a life with only coping because it becomes very, you're not fulfilling your life purpose. You're not fulfilling your I am when you're not living in the joy vibration. And so it's kind of like they become a thief of joy. Lack of empathy then sort of depletes you. It sort of squeezes out. It depletes you of your joy, happiness, attending to yourself, taking care of yourself, owning your truth, becoming your best, becoming empowered, becoming happy, all these different things. It becomes a very threatening existence if you're surrounding yourself with a lot of people who don't have empathy. Birds of a feather flock together. If you're unhappy, you are not an energetic match to being abused. You are not an energetic match to being ignored. You're not an energetic match to hurtful people. You are not an energetic match to these people. And so it is. It's just what it is. So that's okay then to claim your power and your own energy, your own feeling, and stop being bombarded or beaten up by this. So they will not come to your rescue. Even if you have rescued them, this is part of the problem. You have rescued them, you've sacrificed for them, you've adjusted and assimilated your life for them, but you will not get this in return. So this makes people very angry, very upset, feel that they have lost years, months of their life, decades, and then, they find it very difficult to change. But good news is that you can unplug from this abuse cycle. You can unplug from that lack of empathy. You can unplug from those people who are entitled and, are living a lie, living a pet, because these individuals will lie in, just to get their way. So you have to be very careful that you don't want to become an energetic vibration to a falsehood. Do you? Anybody want to become an energetic match to an abuser? Raise your hand right now. Really? But you have to be not fooled by, the decoy of their looks. Not be fooled by the decoy of what they've said, that they are better than, and you are not good enough, and you should just be grateful to even bask in their presence, is basically what people, their takeaway is. And oftentimes, people, their takeaway, if they're with a lack of empathy, people then feel rejected. They feel invisible. And this oftentimes will corrode one's identity. Your I am. So your visionary faculty in your prefrontal cortex to plan for your future sort of becomes ineffectual. It's not tapped into. Your thought process won't go to that next level because there's too much pulling it down. A lack of empathy. And the other problem is that then people are very resistive to change once it's been reinforced and rememorized. Your identity is your I am and how you see yourself moving forward. And if this has been sort of created in an error, you have to correct the habit. It's an emotional habit. It's a thought habit, just like smoking, just like whatever other habit that how to drive a car. This is all automatic process. You don't say, oh, I've got to verbally, you just do it because it's an automatic process. I am a good driver. This is an identity. I am a good person. I am loving and kind. I am truthful. I am honest. I am loving. I am kind. So all these I ams, your authentic self, is still there underneath it all through the abuse, through the years, through the months, through the days, whatever you've gone through. Your pure source of I am is still there. It's just sort of, eked out or, fogged out, and you cannot hear it, see it, feel it, know it. But you have to be in a allow state to come to that piece of being. And so, oftentimes the lack of empathy from a covert narcissist, they won't be admitting of any guilt. They don't feel that they are guilty, especially when you get into, the real pathology of a psychopath. They have no remorse. They have no conscience. They really don't have any fear. These are your fearless individuals they are your intraspecies predators who have no moral qualms of doing whatever to get what they want or to survive. I mean, watch the movie The Corporation. It's a docuseries or a documentary here on YouTube, which I just saw a couple days ago, and I was amazed, not only because Dr. Robert Hare made his cameo appearance, but a lot of the parallels that they draw are things that I've been talking about for years here on YouTube, on the Peace and Harmony channel. So I think that's a great a docuseries that you might want to watch. But it's important to understand a lack of empathy can be very vindictive and put you in a very dangerous, life-threatening, or just sort of very uncomfortable life position where you then have to pick up the pieces relationship, pick up the pieces of yourself, relate to new people, educate yourself so that you can become employed, take training, take workshops, get a job, get a new job, develop your creativity, develop all your interests and hobbies, have a full life now. But the problem also with the covert narcissist is that they don't realize the good that they have in their hands. They don't realize, they tend to not value the valuable. They don't oftentimes value, certain emotional states like humbleness, like gratitude, like knowing that there's a bigger plan and it's not all about me, and then so living and breathing in that, and then, being in that truth, in that safety of the truth, oftentimes is a missing experience. So you need to give yourself that experience. And, so you have to realize the good of yourself and treat yourself well, take care of yourself, even if this has not been role modeled from you through specific situations. Does this make sense? So you have to sort of detach and realize the bad actors, the bad apples, the bad role models that you have had in your life, and how maybe you looked up to the wrong things, the wrong people, the wrong experiences. And so it is, finding and reigniting and getting that divine spark, if you will, just, to get you back into happiness is so important. So, the problem is that you have then been treated so many times that you are wrong, that they have a chip on their shoulder and they just sort of treat you with arrogance, hostility, and, or just sort of ignoring. Do not absorb that. Do not take it personally. Realize that this is how they clamor to get what they want. The entitlement, the opportunism, of just taking from others, not being there when they should be there. Just sort of people who feel that they sort of, exit out stage left when they should be present. So they find their way to slip out of accountability, either in the relationship, personal relationships, or professional, or in the workplace. They just aren't there to be supportive, acknowledge, and validate. And so people then get scared and they feel that they are unlovable, that there's something wrong. But that is flawed and erroneous thinking that is based on abuse. It's kind of like the negative gift of abuse, the negative gift of being around narcissistic individuals. Even if they don't have all that, they oftentimes The problem with a narcissist is that one of their traits is that they, feel that they deserve special treatment, even though they don't have the work to back it up. They don't have the proof to back it up. They just expect, and even though they haven't done the work, treated people well, been thoughtful, been considerate, been polite, they expect others to give and dole out in return. It seems very opportunistic. And you begin to see this with the naked eye once you mature and grow. If this is happening to you in your teens, 20s, even 30s, these are still formative years. I know, right? I mean, other species on the planet, they grow up a lot more quickly, than the human being. So here we are, we're very complex. You need to understand the cause that creates this effect in your life, and stop taking it personally. Allow it to stop with them. It's their energy. Send it back to the source. Allow them to take a drink of their own poison. Allow, the karma in life to come back to them. Don't make it your goal, or it becomes an exercise of futility to think that you can correct or have closure and get them to come to terms with you, come to Jesus, have a kumbaya, have a powwow, have a, whatever, lay it all out on the table. Are we on the same page? You're not going to get, it's just not going to happen. They feel that they are above it. Contrary to evidence of the contrary, evidence to the contrary, these people, I call it like sort of big hat, no cattle. They just want to be, the one that they think that they're running the show. They think that they're running everything, that they are the best. They are going to get theirs this time, and so people then, they become visual, awareness of this, and it's apparent to the naked eye. People then have breakthrough moments. Aha, I see where things are going wrong here. They're able to pinpoint that little area and go. I mean, that's the shift. That, it's an energetic shift, so you can separate yourself and detach from this type of really sort of negligent, and I would oftentimes call it belligerent behavior, emotionally belligerent, where they treat people too roughly. They they hurl false accusations and then walk away. It's just, in other words, they'll just mistreat you and then, dump on you, so to speak. You are not a dumping ground. I am sorry. If you have been sort of in that position repeatedly, you found yourself, oh, here I am again, taking on all the negativity. It's because this has been rehearsed and rememorized by you like an emotional habit, just as habitual as grabbing a glass of water. So you have to realize, whoa, man, there was a bad emotional habit that I was engaging in. I am going to stop that now. And it is okay. Even though this is new, this is unfamiliar, awesome. That means you are on the right path. And it's also important too, because the narcissist, the covert narcissist, and lack of empathy, they don't realize the good that they have in their hand. They don't realize the value of others. They devalue others. They think that they are the one who is the hot stuff and that it's all about them. Okay, great. If that's what they want to live, they are oftentimes, because of this, very unsupportive of others. They don't want others to grow, to become their best, because it then becomes a threat to them. You can then, grow beyond them or see them for who they are, and you're no longer, caving into their demands. So once you see them for who you are, see them for who they are, see them for who you are, and then come back to regain and recover your authentic self that is there, underneath all the abuse. So the abuse belongs to them. You have to claim your purity of being. You have to claim that. You have to live at that rock bottom core moment. It should go all the way down to, your root chakra, that red grounded energy, I am. And then, align with your values, all the energy centers that are within the body, the solar plexus, the heart, the throat, the third eye. Your higher order thinking needs to be switched on. I mean, it needs to be switched on, for hours at a time. You need to work up to that so you can live in that heightened awareness. That's where your joy is. You feel that then everything else all the garbage can leave your mindset, your emotions, the garbage thoughts, the junk way people have been treating you. Get rid of it. You do not need this in your life. Hollow it out so you can come to a position of peace and, rectifying your alignment with your energy centers. It's okay to not be on the same path as the narcissist. It's okay to claim your own victory of freedom and detach like an emotional suction cup. Get the H out of there. So when others don't really realize the good that they have in their hands, they will treat it unfairly. They'll destroy it. They'll, just like when people rent a car, these people are flooring it. They don't care if it gets, the engine gets stressed out. They do not take pride in it. They take advantage. So it's kind of like others. They sort of rent others emotionally to be their support. They rent others, to prop them up, and they don't get anything in return. So it becomes this externalized way of thinking and control, and this becomes very disempowering if you don't have that within your soul, alignment to your own energy centers, which oftentimes that experience is not lived in or demonstrated when you're in, you're not acting out of that identity. You're acting out of a victim mentality, which is a whole different mindset. It's going to lead to a whole different set of results, experiences, relationships, whether you go anywhere with your life or not. You literally have the key. But realize that oftentimes the narcissist will end up injuring others and hurting others, with and not sort of becoming, I don't want to say an emotional hit and run, but it does become like that. And so the entitlement that sort of leaves people feeling stranded or abandoned, and then very down and depressed. And then they kind of want the narcissist to come back and then sort of get back into that lifestyle. But if you have enough time and space, you'll realize, hey, they aren't all that. And it's okay for me to have my journey and recover my I am that is there with me, that walks with me for all of my days, even before I met this individual. So you have to realize you have an original self, an authentic self, that is programmed to, that is connected to joy, that is connected to sort of that universal higher order energy. But that is not tapped into, attended, listened to, acknowledged, written down. You might have a lot of these solutions then, once you sort of get it, driving you. You might feel like the wind underneath your wings begins to take off. You begin to fly. You begin to make new decisions. Man, I'm going jogging right when I wake up. I'm going for that walk. I'm going to that show. I am going to do this. You're following through on your dreams, and then before you know it, if you continue, rehearse and rememorize the new you, really the new dream, and reinforce it, writing it down, putting things in your calendar, making it happen. People, I'll remember to do that. Did you? Who remembered? Write it down. Do not be subject to the will, the whim, or the force of a covert narcissist abuser. They will oftentimes come back if they think that you have given them permission to come back, or you still have, a waiting room. If you still have a beautiful place, that you have made for them to come back and abuse you. Have you done that? Do you have a little playroom for them to come back and beat you up? I mean, are you still keeping this trauma bond actively in place? Yes or no? I mean, it becomes very clear. Yes, yes, peace and harmony, I am. Yes, peace and harmony, I no longer want to be subject to the will or the whim of an abuser. I do not like this. It is okay to scream out your truth. It is your truth. Just because no one has listened to you, no one gets you, no one has supported you, no one has listened, doesn't mean that you are not correct. So that's why it's so important for you to lock arms, join voices, get the tools and understand, human, the behavior and what it looks like and its effect on life. And, organizations can mimic this pathology. So the pathology of the covert narcissist ego is I can always get more. I can always get more. So meaning they think that they can always come back and get that whatever it is that they have gotten from you. That pep talk, the dinner, the this, the that, whatever it is. Stop giving to people who take advantage of you. It is okay. If people oftentimes are afraid though, because they feel that they're going to either get in an eruption of narcissistic rage. They feel that the person is going to hate them or be an enemy, and they don't want any enemies in life. So there's all sorts of things. Just let them go, like a little balloon that has helium, and it just whoops, it slipped out of your fingers. Let them go on their own way. If they want to be entitled, opportunistic, hurtful, unfair to others, then let them be that way. It doesn't mean you have to be responsible for their evolution. You can detach. You have something different. Your energy field from your heart really reaches out 8 to 9 feet around you. You have a spirit, which your body sort of is, kind of around it, but your spirit is very large, 8 to 9 feet around you. I mean, people have tested this with energy, and they energy detectors. So just like the great work of Dr. Joe Dispenza, Bruce Lipton. I mean, check this stuff out. It is an important area that is but I'm helping to sort of synthesize this so you can understand for yourself. So don't be a counterforce to a lack of empathy. Do not engage in the energy. It's just not to be engaged in. Conserve it for yourself. And then that energy center, as we're saying, your root chakra is right at the base of your spinal cord, which is a red grounding energy. And then you come up the solar plexus, the sacral, the orange, which is sort of your sexuality, your creative energy is in there, and then coming up to the solar plexus is, it should be filled with yellow light. So grounding at the base of your spine, you should be infused with red grounded energy. This is your own. This is untampered with. Even though the narcissist loves to tamper with people's, with where they're going and be a controlling force and try to influence, back off. Do not be influenced. Do not be impressionable. Own your space, your boundaries, and your standards. If you've lowered your standards, I'm going to take anything. You've lowered your standards. Raise your standards. Surround yourself with people who are professional, who are supportive, who get you, who are not out to get you, they're not out to hurt you, not out to take advantage. Like an emotional suction cup, pull it back, pull the reins back for yourself. You are on your own horse. And so there ain't room on the saddle for the covert narcissist to come back and have you, go whatever direction they want when you're trying to go on the direction of your dreams. They will block you for a very long period of time if you allow, if you are unconscious or unaware. It'll continue to proliferate. So that is really their ego saying, I can always get more. Deny that conversation. Just, it's not happening. Just be declarative in your I am. Be strong. Your energy centers, once again, the red, the orange, the yellow, you're right in here. This is your I am. This is your identity. So whether your identity is who you feel not who you've only created, but who you authentically, naturally are. Are you a talker? Are you a listener? Are you creative? What is your identity is in here. Just so you have to understand your identity is predicting and calling forth your future. So if your identity is calling forth more hurtful people, then you're going to find a lot more hurtful people on your journey. So you have to realize the power of the energy within your solar plexus, your I am, your heart, which resonates to the green active energy. Then your communication, the blue, is it clear? Is it fluid? And then getting up to your third eye, that which kind of has a visionary quality, which is able to imagine, which is able to create, which is able to manifest and materialize the results. Tap into that higher order thinking. And then your crown chakra, which is really connected to the universal source energy, that quantum field. Until you put your toes into it, your hair into it, your whatever in it, you will not feel it. So, it's like dipping your toes in a bath of water. If you have not soaked yourself in the quantum field, if you've not put your toes in, you need to get to that clean slate every day, and repeatedly call back and hold that space for yourself. Call it back your power. Call back your power. Stop being beat up and having, all this sort of negative energy which you're still holding and connecting with them. Detach. Clear it out completely. And detach from that callousness and be around and warm up yourself, your I am, that is then going to drive your life moving forward in the freeness, the liberty, and completeness and fullness of energy. Rather than fatigue and self-denial, it's in self-deprecation, which oftentimes is a habit that is, has been instilled in you from someone who is not supportive. You need to get rid of those ways. You will be very happy and you'll feel much lighter in your being. This is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today. And I hope that these videos do help. Please share, please subscribe, and for goodness sake, please donate for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support. Peace out, peace in, peace be with you, and have a beautiful day.